And welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. We are on the cusp of National Poetry Month, of National Poetry Writing Month, also now known as Global Poetry Writing Month. That's starting on April 1st. That's 30 days to accomplish 30 poems and publish them either privately or on a blog. There are several options out there. I'll be linking the National Poetry Writing Month site later on, either tonight or tomorrow morning, where you can actually not only get writing prompts, but also see other participants who have submitted their blog and or website. There's special banners you can use for your blog. It's a ton of great resources. I highly recommend you seek it out, and I highly recommend you try it out. Looks like David's trying to say something, but I didn't know. Oh, okay, he was talking to someone else. Okay, but our feature tonight, and do the virtual round of applause or do the hand emoji, the clap emojis for Coleen Houlihan. Colleen T. Houlihan, which I think means Coleen the Houlihan. You know, it's a very, but this has been the last year or so has been a year of reunions for a lot of us. There's a lot of people such as Eric Tate and others. And by the way, it looks like Eric Tate's wife, Crystal, is doing much better. So send love. Crystal was on Facebook at least earlier, so she has to be doing better. Eric Tate and so many other people have come back and have been able to visit us, whereas in earlier times they were not able to. With the pandemic still in full swing in my eyes, and no plans for a big, large Stone Soup gathering, we're leaning hard on the reunions from people who we haven't seen for a while. Next week we have John Rush starting out National Poetry Month. He is new to us, but coming up on April 14th. I don't know how many people remember David Leo Seurat. He is a French Canadian poet descent from northern New England. He has been traveling for a long time. He was settled in Paris for a few years. I think he's in Canada now, and he's about to publish a new book. So you'll be able to support him with your shekels and book purchases in a couple of weeks. You can actually look at some of his videos. You can look up his poem, I Hear the Bank of America Singing, which I recorded for Stone Soup Poetry, not for the YouTube channel I run not too long ago. You can also see a lot of Colleen's poems, and hopefully a lucky few of you were able to hear them live. And if you have, then you know why you're here. But if not, get ready for a treat. And I do want to thank Coleen profusely for agreeing to do this. After having tracked her down, I had to hire somebody because she is her Facebook page is just a front. If I had $1 for everyone who complains, I write on Facebook, she never replies. Well, yeah. AKA Jacques Fleury. But anyway, you might want to reach out to him. He was, yeah, but more on that personal matters another time. We are here. We are about to rock the house. And for those of you who are listening in on Facebook, you can join in by a link that I'm going to be including in the comments very shortly, or you could just scroll down and take a look, or you can get the link through stonesoupoetry.blogspot.com. Everything is working in proper order. No more errors like the last couple of weeks. Without any further ado, let us bring us now to the first person online who's coming to us for the open mic all the way from Brooklyn, who has survived her second COVID dose. You don't need 2 J&Js. I'm telling you, you only need 2 Moderna or 2 of the other one, but I'm kidding. She's not that much of an overachiever, but she is a poet. She is a publisher. She is an author, and she is an event host of the Brownstone Poets Gathering, which is also available online. Check out various websites and her Facebook page and the Brownstone Poets blog page as well. Let's welcome up Patricia Kerrigan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chad. Oh boy, I'm halfway through the 14-day period after you get the shot. So
Yep.
I'm halfway through. I can hardly wait, but you can still get it anyway. So you gotta keep mask and you gotta keep your distance and wash your fucking hands, right? Okay. New poem. I put on my mother's shoes and walked on city streets, crossed asphalt and cobblestone gutters, climbed various staircases to subways, schools, jobs, apartments, sometimes took elevators when available. I felt the leather tighten, heard souls sigh. Pain rose up vascular roadways. A headache signaled to action. Her past, a telepathic rerun. Everybody knew how it would end. Emotions created her whirls and lines, and no two fingerprints were alike. Unanswered questions stepped on anger and grief. Wondered why I still shrink in my own shoes. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. And without any further ado, let us bring us now to the man I call Gentleman Galt, who's been a Stone Soup feature, a Stone Soup host, a contributor to Oddball, the cover artist, for a cover photographer for my book. Definitely seek out his work, which will be coming up in Oddball in future weeks and future endeavors. Always, let's welcome up Mr. Ed Galt.
Well, thank you. I also got my second vaccination today, so I'm kind of psyched about that. I'm kind of in the clear now, finally. Anyway, this poem is called Cassie's Piece of the Road. It's sort of based on a real incident early on in our family's life, and so the names have been changed to protect the guilty. Anyway, this is called Cassie's Piece of the Road. The sun had set on Leverett Pond. The light was of that post-twilight quality. There were no more shadows, so I quit photography for the evening and found my wife and daughter on the other side of the pond. Cassie was walking aside her stroller with her mother. Carol was trying to brush her hair so that I might take a picture of her on the bench. Toddlers rarely sit for pictures well. We gave up. We sat on the bench ourselves, waxing an adult chatter. Cassie ran around picking up everything she found. The pavement of the path was coming loose in some parts. The pavement was coming loose in some parts. Cassie found a piece and brought it back to us, her piece of the road. She offered her piece of the road to another child. The child wasn't interested in Cassie's piece of the road. She came back crying to us, her first of many rejections. We sang to her as we strolled her back along the edge of the pond. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Pardon my video being off. I am just trying to save you the images of me scarfing down Velveeta macaroni and cheese, which I'm eating Velveeta in honor of Jack Powers. There was a story that was told during the Jack Powers memorial reading back in 2010, where he was making his famous spaghettis and wanted to include Velveeta. Someone wanted to include Velveeta or suggested it, but then someone was a vegan. So Jack famously read all the ingredients of Velveeta in a can and came to find out that there was no cheese ingredients, no dairy in it whatsoever. I do this in honor of him tonight. I'm not just a bad eater. I'm trying to work this in just to justify it. let me have my justification. And let me have the next person on the open mic coming up. He can unmute himself now. This is the man who I used to call the orator extraordinaire. You can see a lot of video from him from the early days of my hosting Stone Soup. One of my highest viewed videos is his recitation of the cremation of Sam McGee. And what is he going to orator next? I do not know. But let's bring him on now and welcome up Mr. John Sturm.
Well, you do know because you asked for it. Some say thy fault is youth, some wantedness. Some say thy grace is youth and gentle sport. Both grace and faults are loved of more and less. Thou makest false graces that to thee resort. As on the finger of a throned queen, the basest jewel will be well esteemed. So are those errors that in thee are seen, to truths translated and for true things deemed. How many lambs might the stern wolf betray, if like a lamb he could his looks translate? How many gazers mightest thou lead away, if thou wouldst use the strength of all they state? But do not so, I love thee in such sort, as thou being mine, mine is thy good report. Shakespeare's 96th sonnet. Would you
Okay,
like something?
Say it backwards now. Does that become an Italian sonnet then? I can never tell. But anyway, why don't you surprise me with another selection?
Okay, the best way I can surprise you is by doing something whoops, where did it go? Something I wrote but have not memorized. Oh, there we are. From In Imitation of Richard III, but not from it. Richard Gloucester at the altar looking into Lady Anne's eyes, aside. Now we meet to lock in holy matrimony, to pledge our love till death do us part. How shortly shall we come to that end, though how to end it I know not yet. Lady Anne, aside. Why am I here to marry with this man who killed my husband and his father? So pained his looks when courting me, so horrifying his words, that without my love his life would ended be. So terrifying when he handed me his sword and said, if you will not marry me, then end my life. So here I am, terrified, enchanted and enthralled. Aloud, I take thee, Richard, my lawful husband now to be, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Richard. I take thee, Anne, my lawful wife to be, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Aside. Ah, yes, in sickness. How soon an apothecary I shall find, whose medicines a sickness. Careful, mine eyes now look on her with the most subtle semblance of your love. Give her no warning of her death to come. Lady Anne, aside. His eyes, they have the fierceness that enraptured me. Yet is their power, their force, their mounting majesty, the same that looked into my Edward's eyes, when his sword made my husband's life an end. God help me, what have I done? What have I done? Richard Gloucester aloud to all. Now is the winter of our enmity made glorious summer by this our holy matrimony, which is where it ends.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Chad.
We're getting a nice mixture of like old school, older school, and new school tonight. Hopefully more people will be joining us. It'll be great to, when we finally make announcements for Stone Soup's 50th anniversary, which is coming up on May. The only thing that's a hindrance is that May 1st is also the day of the Cambridge Poetry Mashup, which is taking place all throughout April and May. I'll be taking part in that. And the last day of the mashup actually falls on May 1st, which I believe is a youth performance group, youth slam, so to speak. But whether or not we still decide to do something that day or decide to wait until the following week, I'm not 100% sure. But there will be surprises. There will be Stone Soup relics brought forth. There will be some old videos brought to light. And there's a lot of stuff I have not taken time to get through. Some of you noticed my videos on Facebook today where I just got stuff from like the last year or so. Reading from Tony B at the Poetry Salon in Boston. A cute thing of James Van Loy and Blackbird from last December, or actually last January. The January before everything just went to pot. So I'm hoping to unearth some things that, and I've taken the last couple of years putting everything digitally, as everything that I have digitally. I don't have the complete records, but I do have a lot of it. So hopefully some of it will go up. Some of it has gone up in the past. There's the Jack Powers Memorial readings from 2010. A lot of people are up there now, and more people will be joining him, joining that group. So there'll be a lot of surprises. What I can definitely promise, starting May 1st. Whether or not we do the reading May 1st, we'll find out. I might even poll people, and we'll go from there. So up next, we have the esteemed, hopefully he didn't bail on me. Oh, here he is on the corner. Let us welcome up the man who I blamed for my latest Joe Biden falling poem. He can take the credit and the blame. It works for me. Mr. David Miller.
Thanks. Well, you set it up for me, Chad. I mean, you made it easy for me to think about that. So yeah, Joe Biden has fallen. Get up, Joe Biden, get up. We love you.
You should have written it yourself and stopped me before I had to publish again.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Well, oh well. So this poem starts off from something that my wife spotted that was, of course, guess where else? Of course, it was on Facebook. They say we saw it on the internet. But it was a real thing from someone who is a fine craft person. So with that, what's mine is yours, dear. Who could fault the finesse of the false eyelash entrepreneur who posts this ecstasy? Collected all the legs from the roaches that live in my house and finally created my masterpieces. Jumbo flying roach legs are now for sale. Itchy but cute. Oh, someone else's gal. Flutter those splayed spikes over your big brown peepers. The craft of poetry stares helpless in the face of hashtag cockroach fashion, hashtag adds more volume, hashtags reuse, reduce, recycle. And remembering fashion's ignorance of pain, what about those dangle earrings, each one embracing a pair of teeth? A child's molars, my own. Old chompers exhumed from a box of oddments bestowed on you, my one and only. You wrapped their yellow-white roots in silver caps slung from airy chains. It wasn't as though I had any other use for baby keepsake teeth. Just imagine the distress a consignment shop will endure after we're both gone. The owner lifts the lid, thinks, weirdly realistic, then looks again. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad you didn't share that idea with the internet and you tackled it by yourself. I see what you're doing. You're cherry picking the ideas that are really the sweetest meats, I'll take the roach leg poem.
Well, she called me over to her computer and said, look at this. I said, oh, heavens.
Oh, dear Lord. That's a good wife. That's a good wife. My girlfriend sends me things too, like you should write about this. But anyway, let us move on to the next person on the open mic. And we now have one of our phone callers, so you won't be able to see her, but you will be able to hear her. This is the person who I helped to unmute because she's kind of linked by my phone. This is the woman I love to call Our Lady Queen of Stone Soup, the wonderful Carol Weston.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Carol.
Now, there's no explanation of this poem. I guess I was driving to Watertown or something, and I stopped, I don't know, along the way. Suddenly I was hit by this poem about 10 years ago. Vers la flamme, toward consummation. We are given a few hours to manifest all we dreamed in a lifetime. We must act like lightning, burning through to the essentials and stoking the fire back of the psyche to make the eternal immediate and dance on the threshold of extinction. We are stretched out, stressed out, race horses groaning and close to collapse on the final curve of the race. And our eyes, multifaceted diamonds, capture the light from a million windows and outer space. The heartbeat of the closing chapter of existence pushes us over the line of possibility into the eyes of the miracle. Suddenly, our arms assume the musculature of root systems that lead to power unknown in the dark earth, and we are able to lift the castles of impossibility into the light and redefine existence. Our gut is the knobbed rope that pulls us into consciousness, where we dwell in the all-consuming sun, obliterating us just as we deliver the message of the angels. Come together, ye who strike the harmonies of earth and God, and the stars will bend down to you. Call in your separate wails of truth, and there shall be music. Strike the flint, and the spark shall be immortal. If you know how to jump the sun and look into the eyes of God and take dictation there, singed into action. Collapse along the bridge between life and eternity. Let your innards hang out, reflecting like illuminated gemstones, and you the body of consummation. Thank you.
Yay, Carol.
Carol. Carol. Up next, we can take a breath and pause. Let's see.
Thank you, Carol.
Looks like we have Miss Jan Rowe up next, if you're available. Is Jan available? Is Jan here?
I'm unmuted.
There you go.
Okay, this is from the weekly. Last week, it's for Black Seed Writers, every Tuesday morning, Cathedral St. Paul, Tremont Street, 9:30 to 11. Breakfast and lunch are served. And I'd say about, most of them there have experienced homelessness. Maybe about a third are homeless now. I'm not quite sure. So this was what, for the weekly. How can there be a middle class without unions? The anniversary of the 1911 Triangle Shirtwaist Factory was March 25th. 145 young women died by being burned alive or jumping 9 stories to their deaths. The survivor told Democracy Now! Years ago that the workers ran down the stairs only to find the door to life locked. Then the bodies began to fall on those workers gathered at the foot of the stairs. Why were the doors locked, resulting in workers being burned alive? No one ever held accountable for any of the 45 deaths. No rule change resulted. The owners feared 2 things. 1, the workers they killed, murdered, might steal cloth. 2, union organizers might enter through those doors. Now, in 2021, for 1.5 century, farm union organizers have been allowed on private land where farm workers are. Now the Supreme Court will hear a case which goal is to deny farm worker union organizers access to private land where farm workers are being abused. Supposedly, this old access decision was based on having nowhere else to meet. With this pandemic, there is still no other place to meet. Thank you. It's a great writing group.
Wish I could make it. This is That was Jan Rowe, and this is, we're almost done with the open mic, which is great, and because that gears us closer and closer to the feature. Maybe we'll get a couple of people joining us. Maybe we won't. We will figure that out. Until then, let's keep on going, keeping on. Let's bring ourselves now to Nancy Dotson, if she'll unmute herself from her phone. She's joining us by phone, so you'll hear her, not see her. We can get started. Here you go, Nancy.
Peaceful solitude. Quiet, quiet goes my mind. Then comes the inner peace of God in prayer. Calm, calm my feelings. Steady, steady my thoughts for deep, abiding peace. And one inquires peace and calm within. Friendships happen with and without Halcyon. These friends are treasures. Friends continue to grow on one. Friends grow in peace and sorrow. They support myself in depression. Advice comes forth like relief from the tragic pandemic. We pray for the catching of our ways and thoughts with friend support, as well as helping us understand our minds. Hail to peace, not evil. With God's help forevermore we pray.
Thank you, Carol. Nancy.
Thank you.
Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Carol and Nancy. Okay. And now, does it bring us now to this lady who also is chomping at the bit to start writing on April 1st for the National Poetry Writing Month. She is a poet, a memoirist, and a publisher through multiple names. Hidden Charm Press being one. Telltale Chapbook, some of you may recall. That's where my book comes from. And she's working on even more material as we speak. And I'm excited to see what happens next when no matter what imprint it comes out on. I can't wait. Let's welcome up Minion Ariel King.
Thank you. Can you hear me? I think you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Any
I can
video
hear
on
you.
your end?
Okay. Thank you. Just want to say hi, Coleen. Long time no see.
Hi.
All right, this is a poem from another chapbook in progress called Watermarks. And you might notice the verbs shifting a little. I haven't worked that out. Bear with me. This is There's No Room Here. I try to keep friends who deem me worthy of retention too. For the last microcosm of women told me about tea time Sundays, to which I was uninvited. Gretchen laughed. We knew you wouldn't be interested. You're so down to earth. Then Rebecca described a me I've yet to meet, as I smile in collusion against myself, remembering 4 o'clock parties with rag dolls and daddy, and witnessing sisters' chatterful hair combing, always uncertain of what it was all about. Grooming for me was that. No ritual, not bonding, certainly not preparation for a cotillion. We don't have those in Boston. Manners don't need coyness as dress up. Finishing school was graduate study, books opened and read, not propped on my head. But all of that is unimportant to classy friends who helpfully remind me where I come from. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Minion. That was great. And now give this person a little space. He's a shy person. He's a shy poet. But give a round of applause to someone who's been making the best out of not just the pandemic as far as poetry, but as far as working and Zooming and teaching. Let's welcome up Bill Lewis.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a great honor to be here among you, my minions, my little people. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the Queen, the reign of all good poetry. Welcome, Coleen. We are so happy to have you here. I was complaining about things. I'm good at complaining about things. I'm going to complain about things so much. Just a moment, I'm going to turn my refrigerator off because I want you to hear clearly how I complain about things. Remind me to turn my refrigerator back on after I'm done. But it's too loud. We just had a meeting of returned Peace Corps volunteers over Zoom. And of course, being an old curmudgeon, I was somewhat disappointed in the younger volunteers and their a little bit too much me stuff. And yes, it was a pandemic, but it was a pandemic, but it did not kill 100 million people. It did not kill 10 million people. I mean, a year ago, it shows up and they already have a vaccine for it. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, do you know how unbelievable that is? It's crazy. How is that possible? I am just in awe of the people. And what they did, of course, is they took the virus apart and they analyzed it and came up with a way, which I don't understand, to recognize that and trigger white cells. And guess who wrote the software that they used? Well, a little bit of the software they used. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity to give unto you my most famous and glorious poem. I speak nothing more of than the 16S ribosomal small subunit wrap. Now, in general, it takes a bit of help from you because you have to go along with it, but it's not going to happen this time because it's just too hard to do. So you are just going to have to stick with me. Oh, I can't do this. This is very confusing. All these lights and anyway, now. Don't worry, I'm just adjusting things. So, we in the scientific world have trouble sometimes presenting things that people who are not in the scientific world can really appreciate it. They tell us, write poetry to your experience, and we do, and people look at us like you're. So the 16S ribosomal small subunit wrap. When your DNA gets randy and it wants to have some fun, and the protein that it's coding for is needed #1, and your cytoplasmic facial flux leads your beta max, then there's just one thing I know of that will save you from the yaks. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. A heterogeneous mixture from the very discipline that contains protists and bacteria all blended in your butt. If you want to separate them in a phylogenetic tree, then there's just one thing you really need to see what you can see. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. The 16S is so conserved it lasts for years and years, and a heterogeneous mix is, you gather all the light. You gather all the microbes in a very little tube, then you lyse the little bastards with a special kind of lube. You spin them till they're dizzy and their DNA drops out, and a PCR reaction makes their numbers mount. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. The 16 episode concertos last for years and years, and a universal primer sounds like music to my ears. A kneeling on a 3' stand, it fits so very neat, and a 5' that's reciprocal produces something sweet. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit. It's the 16S ribosomal small subunit.
Woo!
The most hardcore nerd rap since All About the
I hope you
Pentium
enjoyed
by
it.
Weird
I
Al.
don't know what my neighbors think. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Turn on your refrigerator.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Bonus for you, Patricia. Oh my, where do we go from there? Who has to follow that? Which poor bastard has to follow that? Okay, let us go now to Margaret Nairn, if you are ready, Miss Nairn.
There's no following that. I haven't written anything that I would want to read in a long time, so I'm going to read something that's 2 parts, but let's see, it's 5-part. And the subtitles are Sin and Pain, so that's no fun at all. Sorry about that. Can you hear okay? I hope so.
I think so.
Okay. Sin is not original. It's not there when we began. We didn't know, and that's where it comes from. Sin comes from drop an egg on a rock, not knowing what it is or how it breaks. It is not a rock and makes the egg from us. Sin comes, and sin is too thin to be seen on its own, so it stands with us in order to be seen. If we own it, it is ours to claim, we think. Yet we cannot stand with it or stand it on our own. It claims us. Sin is own, grown and grown again and again. Sin is pain. Moving on to pain. Pain is universal. It is truth to all and can be understood as such. Share at least. Maybe have a little, not too much. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. And with that, we're going to move on to our closer for the open mic before we get to the feature. Also, a quick announcement I can make tonight and hopefully follow up on tomorrow. Gloria Monahan has agreed to feature on the 21st of April. I'm hoping to keep the all-star lineups going and get as many people on the get as many good people as we can just leading up until June, and then we'll do some crappy people. No, it just sounds weird when I say, now we got the good people. No, but there's some people I've been wanting to get back for a while at Stone Soup, and this Poetry Month is the best way to do it. And hopefully we'll have some old friends we haven't heard from in a while coming back to Stone Soup. I'll be working on that as well, hoping to make more announcements. For now, let us go to the man who is our penultimate closer, has been for several years now. We can bring us to Mr. James Van Looy. Look for his column, It's All One Thing, a weekly poem column at oddballmagazine.com. Also submit to oddballmagazine.com. Roachwing Poems a plus.
Okay, thank you. So I've got a little piece here called Translating. translating great-grandfather's cousin's autobiography, Jacobus Van Looy. After a long chapter going on about how Jacobus made a song for his boss's sister's wedding, he in the next chapter goes home to his sister and hears her singing to her daughter, his niece, a song about a sailor maid who goes to sea to climb the mast and tie up the sails, as the sister dresses the baby and ties the laces of her shoes. And Hendrik, her husband, Jacobus's brother-in-law, says the entire family, Jacobus, his grootmoeder, grandmother, and two sisters, are a singing family. And I remember Daedalic immediately, the family union in Braddock, Pennsylvania, where my grandfather and two brothers with the three wives first came to the USA, and how the New Jersey Van Looys came with their own songbook, the Van Looy songbook, they called it, all folk songs from the late 1950s and 1960s. Just like I love so much in my own tweenage years. Boy, do we need Joan Baez now. And I got a little song here. She came from her palace crown. She came to the cottage door. Her words were few, but her looks will linger forevermore. The look in her sad dark eyes, more tender than words could be. But I was nothing to her. She was the world to me. There in his garden he stands, all dressed in white satin and lace. Prince John, so cold and so strange, in her heart could find no place. She knew I would her wed, with a kiss for a lifetime keep. But I was nothing to her. She was the world to me. And now on the palace ground, on a flower-strewn bed she lies. Her beautiful lids tight closed on her beautiful sad dark eyes. And among the mourners who mourn, why should I a mourner be? For I was nothing to her, but she was the world to me.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much. And it could be like this every week. All we need is you. Keep on coming back to Stone Soup. We have some amazing features coming up. The aforementioned John Roche and David Leo Sarah for the 7th and the 14th of next month, kicking off National Poetry Month strong. Excuse me. And we also have now confirmed Gloria Monahan on the 21st. Can't wait to have her back. Hopefully I'll be able to announce the poet for the 28th very shortly. And we already have a good list of poets formed for June. All I gotta do is get the May crowd down. Some of the May crowd is older and don't have access to computers. Some of them do, so it's just need to take out time to figure out who does, and hopefully we can get some people coming over here for one more feature. That'd be my dream for certain individuals. So without further ado, let's focus on the people that we have here today and the feature we have here today. It is my pleasure to read the boilerplate for returning sensation Coleen T. Houlihan, who has been who was a mainstay for Stone Soup for several years and a feature multiple times, and a co-feature multiple times with several people. One of the first people who stood out when I was starting to not just attend Stone Soup, but also host it. This is an easy choice to make as far as, figuring out who to ask back. And I'm so glad I was able to track her down with no less than 5 private investigators and Garrett ask, hey, show people pictures of their kid, they'll do anything. I'm kidding. Anyway, I think I just freaked out Bill for a second there. Let's, too bad John Stern wasn't here. We'll get him next time to stay for the whole feature. We'll see what we can do. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Coleen T. Houlihan, who began her career in writing on a picturesque day in a quaint Connecticut town. An only child who loved to read, her afternoons were often spent home, leafing through dusty volumes passed down from her grandfather. Or she could be found in the local library, covertly reading all the books she'd been warned against, such as Wifey by Judy Blume or Go Ask Alice. Salacious writing, perfect for the budding adolescent. At Wellesley College, she focused on short stories and poetry and received her BA. She has featured at several poetry venues such as Stone Soup, Bestsellers, A Tapestry of Voices, Sherman Cafe, and the Walden Poetry Series. She has published poetry in the Main Street Rag, Posey, Bellowing Ark, The Alewife, the Wilderness House Literary Review, Ibbotson Street Press, Spoonful, a gathering of Stone Soup poets, and the Mojo Anthology, which is making a comeback. You should submit work if you qualify or spread the word. The Maps One Journal, Spare Change, and hopefully many more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Lo Galuccio, hello. So glad you're here.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can all put your hands together. Oh.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
This is great. We're going to, I'm just going to mute you now, Lo. You can talk afterwards, but for now, let's put our hands together virtually or pantomimally 30, 40 times for Coleen T. Houlihan.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Gosh, yeah, I was pretty busy before I had a child, wasn't I? Thank you for reading that. It reminded me of what I used to do. Well, hopefully I can get back into it. Yeah, absolutely. And please keep this Zoom meeting going, Chad, because it's perfect. It really helps a lot of people who aren't there be involved. So I really appreciate it.
One way or another, the Zooms will continue. Stone Soup is probably going to change radically after year 50, because I told them myself I would keep it going weekly after year 50, but how it continues live and how it continues online, we'll be figuring that out.
Figuring it out. I hear you. Okay, well, so thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. It's so great seeing some of you that I haven't seen before. It's great seeing all of you, but some of you I haven't seen before. It's especially exciting. So we're still in March. This is the last day of March, and it is Women's Month, Month of Women. And so my poems are going to focus on that. Okay, and I have a few picked out, and if I start to go long, Chad, feel free to, throw the hat. An intelligent woman. Bad enough they were mortal. Plutarch with his neck craned back 130 years, quill posed assuredly, speaking of your guile as if he knew you. Another man believing his verbal dismissal was justified. In the eyes of your beloved people, he wouldn't be worthy enough to die at your sacred Macedonian feet. Well, of course it was a woman. Men only rule the world. You entered into our minds and would not let us live without your legend. Stories to rival the gods, or rather, an earthly dame with one hell of an ascension. Your shoulders shrug, fleeting, bemused smile. What did you need of beauty when you offered an enchanted mirror? Short men elevated to 7-foot warriors, the worried and sniffling, suddenly skilled and suave. You may have laughed later while your pearl entwined plaits were untwined, raised eyes and prayed to Isis for the ability to lie. All done for country, a queen's duty to her people first, children second, and lover third. A queen's life a commodity, and as important as her enemies deem it. You risked your flesh, but never bartered your soul. Augustus forever lamenting how close he came to seeing you chained. Unknowable queen, a father's only choice. Warrior, linguist, mother, lover, 2,000 years later, there are still those who call you whore, proving yet again how some befuddled men love to loathe an intelligent woman. And that, of course, is about Cleopatra, my favorite ruthless queen. My finger pointed to the jewels. In my little book of Bible stories, gifted when I was 4, well-known tales arranged in order, starting with the banishment. Illustrated, lifelike, vibrant. The assurance all these stories are true, spotlighted in the preface. What fascinated my child's mind were the depictions of the women. When they were good, the story told one so. Likewise, when they were bad, Jezebel, a wicked queen. So we would not cry when the men pushed her out the window. But all that beauty. There is always a choice to be made, even when we sit passive. So too for the young child. Though many would say you do not know your own mind. In the pictures of the women who were good, their breasts vague outlines under loose sacks, cinched with rope, hair hid under scarves or pulled back, lips pale as heaven's clouds, watching God so hard they never saw themselves. Bad women were the ones under jewels, gold in their hair, rubies in ears, glistening amulets from necks, clothed in fitted scarlet and amber, hair ringlets, lips bright as plums, praying to gods that were not Christian. They drank wine, elongated necks stretched with laughter, flesh yielded to the touch. It was up to us to fill in what they looked like when dead, after falling from the window ledge, after God burnt everything down. This choice where either way you lost, that's what my child's mind said to me, small finger pointing at the jewels those bad women were encrusted with, meaning do that and wind up dead. Blasphemous, yes, but my God, how those women lived. Dissection, as told by the Queen. I like the sound of the pigeons, gray feathers, spikes, but yielding to the wind, the wind. I like warm breezes, would probably submit to hurricanes if they were in the right region, someplace hot, prickly. This all goes back to sticky breezes and birds who can divide a room. I like it best when I'm split in half, when each hand can hold my heart separate, left ventricle juxtaposed to right, the same blood, the same object on opposite shores, or when my severed head can look at my lower half and remember the loins fire, the body I gave to someone else, and the head my husband wanted. So this poem is from my childhood, as you'll see. And when I was looking at it recently, I thought, you know, it's a little mean, but at the same time, there's truth to it. So I'll read it. It's called The Aunts. Before the wheel's motion ceased and the maroon thunderbird stilled, Two sets of sharp eyes looking to devour light. How was I to be still for hours, lagging behind as mother rang the bell and father yawned, already asleep in a dead uncle's armchair? Sucking peppermints and hearing stories recycled like trash, I counted wrinkles and white hair sprouting like onion grass. Mother fixed her smile, dreaming reimbursement, while clutching the duty my trusting, dozing father with ancestral link shoved in her hands. At least the merciful meal, chicken parmesan at same stodgy restaurant, exact time, and little to do but explore the pristine backyard, slipping behind emerald hedge, emerging not to a world of dreams, but reality. Inside the almost dead drinking tea, would I like a cup? From the bookcase, pulp poorly written, sex scenes located by this blasé virginal adolescent. Yes, it seemed the neighbors were at it again, driving into their driveway, then out of it. Mother nodding, flickering smile, while I rudely yawned and blew out snot. What I wanted to know was not how life could be reduced, but tales of sisters when they expanded a world. Occasionally, the erotic innuendo or rage proving them to be not merely shrunken forms without teeth, but women who might have taught me the depth of their dreams. Eventually, the inevitable falling out, house mortgaged away. Not even the family Bible remained. Father, still counting transgressions committed against his mother, cursed, then forgot their name. But when my mother found them years later in the nursing home, the two women still waited, and they made up as best they could, each saying, I was horrid too, until the day the first aunt died, eventually followed by the frail one who'd outlasted, my mother having received 2 pristine diamond rings. But the sanctity of their lives locked tight, my right of nativity imprisoned in a mute's mouth, only cliched histories turning page, unshared confidences taken by those sisters to the grave. How I miss them now. Drag queen. When a man puts on lipstick, he enters into the space of want where not even women exist. Though women would desire to press onto their eyes more than spindly lashes, but to absorb the barbarous spirit stalking in between what some men want a woman to want and what a woman sees within, when all eyes like mirrors are imploded and reflect not the images cast, but a warrior donning breasts and cleft. When a man puts down his masculine pose and takes up an extreme, he enacts the primal fantasy, says, this is how I look when I scream, and though no longer recognizing himself, understands his wishes more and more. In the dark, seedy bar, bachelorettes clap and cleavage that is real shakes, while a man who bruises conventions snarls in ways virgin brides wish they could. Perhaps hidden inside everyone is the manifestation of the thing they must become when they learn to love themselves better. This poem is called How It Ends, and I wrote it for my friend Deborah. Statuesque queen of russet strands blazing from your head, swan neck and alabaster skin, everything emitted the spark that burned. When the blue eyes tinged red and clear liquid flushed flesh, darkness would unfold hungry arms to hold you as a mother. Perhaps that's why you stayed so long, years like ugly songs churning your mermaid form in undulations of fire. slender foot held down by those anchors. Many had to get away, scratching up the best of you bits. You would lay docile as the booze danced, then curse their lives in the morning, that narrow window before you put down hate and picked up distilled blood. Hard not to like you better after the bottle's contents smudged the dirty prints from your walls. Ducking while your dragon flame obliterated the image of you, how many people left your bandaged body slick with red? My letter cauterized by dear, severed with goodbye. You disappeared a year later, the copper and bronze oxidized. When I remembered, I dreamed you whole, peeking like a princess out windows lacking bars, but not locks. Flailing and falling, the siren who drives her own self mad. Lousy, bland testimony, giving us what we could have guessed, liver damage, death, and the unbearable knowledge of how your beauty ends. Birth of the world. Teal fangs, when night's moon colors a moan, the way the iridescent howl of blood vanishes a room's bed, so that in this space there could be the petite mort of pleasure or the guillotine's wet shadow. How I long to digest the world, let it fecundate inside until the hour of decision, derision, Gaia's dilemma, or perhaps the pressing, my abdomen bloody, silent, and still. Girls who kill themselves. Girls who kill themselves have a small mirror hidden in their locker. It looks like a cheap store-bought reflector, but in actuality, it is a shard from the jealous queen's broken looking glass, and it does nothing but cry. For its truth is subjective, a fact only understood with the aid of maturity and time. But girls who kill themselves move fast like the wind. They are the wild Mustang horses which sometimes get caught and killed, who don't recognize freedom until it is lost. It is never right for such creatures to have hollowed out eyes, because even though the mirror cries, the eyes only see what the beaten queen believed before she devised a plan to get off her knees. Girls who kill themselves see Sleeping Beauty's punishment as actually being the dream. And I'm going to read one more called Female Beast. I became an animal called breasts, two heavy globes swaying, the way a little boat gets battered by Poseidon's pleasure, hefting each the lithe juggler who uses her own flesh, swelled with milk, this after the kisses and caresses, and I thought I was awake. Little fool whose pale, soft nipples had much to learn, the babe, sweet, beautiful, innocent savage, grunting, grasping, sucking around the hour. Now the tips rough and dark, at times all is hard as lead. I open my blouse whenever my child demands, relishing the cool air, the harsh clamp of mouth, the instinctual urge that makes me need the flesh, willing all to see this naked, defiance on these curved lips. How I grow, taught by my own breasts. You know a little, the succulent sisters say. Now here's the rest. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yay.
Give it up, put your hands together.
Bravo,
30, 40 times for Coleen.
bravo.
Fabulous, Coleen.
Thank you.
Brava.
Terrific.
Encore, encore. Woo.
We're getting calls for encore.
Aw. Thank you.
Looks like the calls for encore are going unheeded, sad to say. But I can tell that was a newer poem.
Well,
Hey, give or take a decade. But Coleen, I hope this jumpstarts you to keep on
oh yeah.
writing again, to keep on going, and it would be great to have you back. You already have if you scroll up, you actually have an invitation to submit to the next Extra Mojo anthology as published by Minion Ariel King.
Oh, good.
Something you know a little
Okay.
bit about because you were publishing at least one of the books.
Okay, perfect.
So definitely look into doing that, and definitely look into if you sneak back to Facebook, I won't tell anyone, but check out the Stone Soup Facebook group. And we're doing announcements and we're doing things all throughout National Poetry Month. So it would be great to have you as part of this. And more importantly, if you have a Cash App address or a Venmo address for money, please send that so we can send donations to you, and as a token of appreciation for your reading today. If you want to type that into the comment section now, that'd be great. If you want to email it later on and I'll share it, definitely do that as well. But do you have Venmo or Cash App?
No, I'm not too familiar with it.
Do you have PayPal?
Yes.
Okay, PayPal address we can work with. Venmo is like PayPal, except you use your phone.
Okay, okay.
Seeing as how we don't have Coleen to do an encore, Lo, would you be willing to do one yourself?
Yes.
Me?
Yes. There's no other Lows here.
Hang on a second. Let me just get a poem.
Everyone's got to do the paper shuffle, even online.
That was wonderful. That was so much fun. We have the best time. Chad, even though you are one of those guys sometimes, I just want to take you and take me over my knee. At other times, I am just so proud to say that I know you and you're making things happen. These incredible people who come here, this is so wonderful. So it's great that you're doing this. I just like, how do you, and you do it week after week. In fact of this, we are really irritating SOBs sometimes. You put up with us. How do you put up with it? You are.
The secret to Bill is no matter how he feels about me, he still wants to take me over my knee. But anyway, good quote from David, Chad Prento, one of those guys sometimes. I should put that on my website for one of the pull quotes. that would work. I need new pull quotes for my website, so that might work.
You can develop that as a blurb for your next book. Just spit it out from there. I'm sure it can get someplace. It sounds like something's actually being said.
There you go. Looks like Lo might be ready.
I can't find the sonnets, but I'll read an old weird poem. From a collection called Terrible Baubles. Well, it's actually, yeah, I'll just read it. It's called For Blood and Smoke. I don't have to kill anything, just ease into eternity, like playing cards, smiling dogs pant days against the whirligig. What makes the city profound is drunk, coming to in the early morning. Dawn and dusk occupy the same sky while dogs dance at mudslide. A rooster comes from phantoms of childhood. He comes and lays eggs in my cranium. I've got to kill everything and turn it into a lullaby. The past looks like you, says one thing to my face, at night says what you mean. A frenzy of spittle, an old rubber man, rubber chicken. This red rooster, stone cold, sober, twisted, that's me. Where Snow White and the Wicked Witch kiss, that's me. Way ahead of my heart, with so many lives to fill, wearing blood and smoke like eagle feathers, like chiffon to dance. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you,
Coleen,
Lo.
your poetry was so great. Oh, what a joy. So lush and so female centric. Wow. Fabulous.
Just what we need for the end of Women's History Month. we tried to send out a call for submissions for women history pieces, and the only one that did anything for Women's International Women's Day was actually written by a man. So I haven't even replied yet. I'm just like, there's just no nice way to say no. it just no. But
Can I ask Coleen something? Coleen, was the severed head poem about Anne Boleyn, the head belonging to the king?
She was, yes, she's my favorite, English queen. So yes, it was highly inspired by that. Of course, I could kind of have taken my pick, couldn't I, with what he was up to?
Right. He beheaded 2 queens, didn't he?
Was it only 2? I thought it was more than that. There were quite a few.
He had relationship issues.
Yeah.
And he liked keepsakes, apparently. But anyway,
Sorry.
Gesundheit. But
the allergy is very bad.
Oh, so
the
sorry.
woman who played Queen Elizabeth in The Crown in the first season, she played Anne Boleyn in a series about Anne Boleyn. And I really want to see it. She's a fabulous actress.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it was a BBC production.
It may have been. I don't.
Okay. All right.
You look so great. Are you good? Are things good?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were like 2 states west of that.
No.
Florida. Cuba. No, I don't know. But I'm American. My geography.
It's somewhere hot with the ceiling fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Jesus, now that you're in Florida, you're doing okay. Have you gotten vaccinated yet?
Not yet. No, they just sort of reduced it to my age group, maybe the beginning of the week. And I really want the Pfizer one, and those are hard to find. So yeah, I'm just still, masking and social distancing, and so far so good.
Keep away from the fucking spring breakers. Good God.
Right. I know. Yeah. Florida. I mean, it's like we're leading for COVID right now for the variation, I guess.
It was about time for Florida to lead in something, but we didn't want this. I was down in the Panhandles last year when it happened. We vacationed in a very cheap place in the Panhandle area, and then we come back. We're just like, wait a minute, did we just escape certain death? It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But know that you're in Florida, I'll definitely keep in contact with us. Keep on coming back. We want to make sure you survive.
Check in with me weekly.
I'll do what I can. Well, wow.
How old is your child, Coleen?
10. Yes. Yeah. I know that's exactly how long since I've been in Massachusetts, because he was 2 weeks old when I left, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. He's 10. It's crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He's in school and
the
work.
He's in school and he's obsessed with Minecraft, and
10's a good age for both just being a kid, being a kid, and both for playing Minecraft. Apparently,
that's right.
This is what I've learned from taking some care of a 10-year-old. I never got into Minecraft, but it's great. It's great that you're here. Keep on writing. Start to write again. Definitely keep on going. The poetry world needs you, and if you keep on coming back, I'll keep on doing this gathering.
Can I also just say quickly, there's a new book, and I should have looked up the name, but it's a new book about Sylvia Plath. It's incredible. It's really, really, really good. And it's not just looking at like her personal life. It's really looking at her work, starting before she was born by looking at her grandparents. It's fascinating. So if you Google it, like, Sylvia Plath, 2021, it's really great and inspiring. So
I will do that. Thank you.
Is that the book Red Comet?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's very long. So, I mean, you're getting a lot of information because she gains access to a lot of the unseen archive. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, good. Thanks.
We'll definitely we'll take some time to look at the Gmail address for the email address. Is the email address also for your PayPal, Colleen?
I said, yes, it is. Yeah,
Okay, good.
it's linked to my, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Definitely take down Lo Galuccio's email address. You have mine. I sent you something just before the show started.
I did, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so we will, and definitely take down the Mojo anthology
Yeah.
submission information. Hopefully be bringing a couple of people to your attention. Hopefully getting some submissions your way.
Thank you. I certainly hope so.
But above all, everyone, keep on coming back. We're counting down the Stone Soup's 50th anniversary. What we're going to do on May 1st, I'm not sure yet. We're kind of in, I don't want to say competition, but we're kind of clashing a little bit with the Stone Soup Poetry. I'm sorry, with the Cambridge Poetry Mashup on May 1st. So what are we going to do then? I'm not sure, because that's a Saturday, and Saturday nights are generally not the poet's strongest suit. So we may have to wait until later on, but keep on looking for surprises, for things to happen, for new videos, for flashbacks, and we'll keep on keeping on, people. And thanks for all your support, and thanks for continuing to do this. Let's do the quick obligatory wave as we say goodbye to our
Thank you,
readers.
Chad.
People watching on Facebook. It can be like
Thank
this
you,
every.
Chad.
All we need is you. We will. We'll talk to you later. Colleen, I will talk to you later. Stay tuned for next week. John Rush from New York, the author of the Joe Poems series, now a series. His second book is now available through Foothills Publishing. There'll be information for that. Definitely support him by supporting Foothills, which is an independent publisher. Who says suck at Amazon. You can pay us through PayPal. Come back next week, and thank you all very much again. If I haven't said it 5 times already, the show's over. We'll see you next.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.